A lot of the new artists, which is what we're talking about, Pop Smoke, unfortunately, they weren't unable to turn their unfortunate situations around. You've had issues in the industry, but you turned them around to be positive situations. And one person we spoke to the other day is Fat Joe, and we talked to him about verses, and he said the only person that he could think to battle would be 50 Cent. Now, how do you feel about doing a versus battle against Fat Joe?
I thought, look at this stuff. I thought Verzuz was something we did when we were stuck in the house. Look, as soon as we got out of the house, like to come back outside, I was like Verzuz didn't make sense to me anymore.
But what if you took that same element of Verzuz to a live venue, so where you could really get the bag, make a tour out of it, make a few dates? I mean, people want to hear these records live, see y'all doing.
There's so many other ways to do that. So look, the reason why the Verzuz part, like, to be honest, because of how it came, like I looked at it like Verzuz to me that showed up and was the hottest thing. I was paying attention to it, like watching it like everybody else. I'm watching it like this is when D Nice is like the only DJ on the planet. Like,
right.
Like we watching it, I'm going, yo, this is like COVID just hit. This is crazy. What are we doing? And we just looking and we all trying to figure out what we're doing next. And then as soon as we come back outside, I'm like, I don't know why they're still doing it. Like I think when they did the Jeezy
Gucci Man,
Gucci Man thing, I think that was desperation on Jeezy's part trying to sell the record.
Do you feel like it worked?
No, the record didn't sell. The record didn't sell, but I think that's what that was leading up to it, because they looked at how much a catalog will sell and how much exposure you'll have, or because he was releasing a record at that point. You know what I'm saying? Right. Other than that, I don't know why you would do that, because he said you're smoking on Bookie Low.
What up, y'all? It's Coffee on the vid, tapping back in, man. And that was an interesting way to put things, more or less. It kind of sounded like they were saying 50 Cent is the king of beef as far as beefing with artists and finding ways to come out on top off that and monetize it and push your career off it, like get the W in the end. And, I guess that would kind of be safe to say. Y'all hit the comments and let me know if you guys agree with that, because Fifth been doing that. We see him do it all the time on Instagram now, dissing people, getting into little beefs and whatnot, and promoting his brands and what he's got going on at the same time. And then even flashing back to, beefing with the game. He used that in a way to keep things trending upwards for him. And Piggy Bank, you know what I mean? When that Piggy Bank record dropped right before, the album dropped, which kind of ties into the game situation in a way too, if you really think back about it. But that was like some never before seen ish, the way that Piggy Bank record, the kind of attention that drew, coming into the period when he's dropping the album. That was crazy. So I don't know, you guys hit the comments and let me know that if you guys would agree that Fifth is the king when it comes to getting his beef on in the hip hop world. But it's crazy to me, right? Like everyone on all these interviews for the past year or so and in the news cycle and such, everyone's been so obsessed with 50 Cent doing a verses. Yo, like, is Fifth gonna battle Game? Then, Whack 100's out here running around doing interviews, and Game's doing interviews trying to get, that set up to do the verses against Fifth. Fat Joe, you heard them just mention Fat Joe, that his name came up before T.I. and Fifth were going back and forth. A lot of us thought that was a prelude to a verses, but Fifth didn't do it. You know what I mean? He was just catching wreck, going back and forth, dissing T.I. So, I guess it's pretty safe to say Fifth ain't doing no verses. In all those situations, he didn't see fit to come out and do the verses and get to the bag. And you hear him now. This ain't the first time he said this. He was spitting the same kind of stuff like a month and a half, 2 months ago about the verses. Like, yo, when we couldn't go outside at all, verses was lit. But, I got other ish to do now that we could somewhat, it's back open outside, like somewhat we can go move around and whatnot. Like, I got better things to do. And that kind of leads me into the next point, or, that I want to get to, or question that I want to ask y'all. Once again, make sure to hit the comments, and all the new viewers, make sure to subscribe to Team Coffee. But let's talk, let's break this all down in them comment threads. What do y'all think about Verzuz? Do you agree that it was more interesting when, like, nothing else was really going on outside? Because now we just saw the news about Timbaland and Swizz Beatz, what they're doing with Verzuz, with Triller, and they're trying to expand it. And it's supposed to be this big campaign, like they're going to be doing much more than they were. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed some of the Verzuz, but can they really expand this to where we're seeing more and more of this? I mean, nonetheless, they did their thing. Swizzy and Timbo, they did their thing with the Verzuz as far as getting to the bag. But I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, I want to know what everyone thinks about Verzuz. I wasn't the kind of dude that was tuning in to every Verzuz and whatnot. So I don't know. Now they're going to expand the platform. We'll have to see what happens with that. But I just want to know if you guys think it's kind of like a washed up. I don't want to say washed up, because people will still tune in, but expanding it, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But at the same time, Fifth sending some shots at Jeezy. Jeezy was doing that, in his opinion, out of desperation. The Verzuz against Gucci, that was a desperate move to try to boost sales for the Recession 2, which was dropping. And Fifth saying, all in all, like, it didn't work. The album's numbers weren't really there like that, and it wasn't a good look, in Fifth's opinion, for Jeezy to go out there and do the Verzuz and have Gucci smoking on Pookie Loc. We know the big confrontation that went down. Jeezy was like, I'm going to turn the other cheek and grow and mature. Are you still stuck in your ways? And I do support that message that Jeezy put out there. But what do you guys think? Fifth is saying, yo, man, all in all, you kind of look like a sucker, more or less, doing that. And the album kind of flopped, according to 50 Cent. Now, let's not forget, Fifth doesn't forget. Okay, he doesn't forget. If people get on his bad side, push his buttons or something like that, Fifth's gonna bring it to you at one point or another. He's like Velcro. He don't let ish slide. He doesn't forget. And right when all that was going down, leading into the Jeezy Gucci Verzuz and the Recession 2 was coming, the first single that got dropped, that Therapy for My Soul, Jeezy sending shots at 50 Cent, diss 50 for kind of being an Instagram drama queen, more or less, and, re-brought back some old beef and old issues with Freddie Gibbs, diss them both on the track. Because if y'all remember, leading into the Verzuz, Gibbs was going live the 2 days, like he was going live right before the Verzuz popped off, and the day before he was all over Twitter telling stories about when he was still cool with Jeezy and BMF came through putting pressure on him. Like, he was mad. So he told his story about, how Jeezy's soft and a sucker or whatever. Well, here we see Fifth, who he had a couple things to say, but now he's on a interview again. Everyone's hearing this, and he's like, yo, don't think I forgot, Jeezy. You think you're gonna, diss me to boost your record, and this Verzuz was gonna be the move. All in all, you look like a hoe, and I ain't forgot about you. You know what I mean? Like we were just talking about in the beginning of this. 50 Cent, is he the king of the beefs? What do y'all think, man? So hit the comments with your thoughts on all those points that we were just talking about there. What do you think about the Verzuz expansion? Fifth getting at Jeezy. Let's talk about it all in them comments. And once again, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We drop a lot of content, music, news, sports, and more. Join Team Coffee. I'm out of here. Peace.